Hello, everyone. So I came across this opinion piece by Femi Falana on Sahara Reporters, and it says illegal criminalization of protests in Nigeria and this is by Femi Falana San. I'm going to read this, which is quite interesting. He said, it is therefore curious that the Bola Tinubu administration has turned round to clamp down on radical citizens and thereby expose the country to unprecedented ridicule. During the colonial period, the British imperial regime banned public protests under the Public Order Ordinance. As the law did not stop aggrieved citizens from protesting against the illegal exploitation and egregious human rights abuse committed by the British government, public protests, many citizens were charged for unlawful assembly, incitement, sedition, and allied offenses. You can say Tinubu is trying to take us back to colonial era that some of our ancestors and great-grandparents died for to give us the freedom we have today. When the colonialists could not silence the natives in quote, the police resorted to shooting and killing unarmed protesters, which is still happening now. The most murderous attacks occurred at Aba in 1929 with the killing of 55 women who were protesting against double taxation, and at Enugu in 1949, when 21 workers were killed during a protest for improved working conditions. But no colonial subject was ever charged with treason or treasonable felony or calling for an end to the foreign domination of Nigeria. Treason trial of political opponents by post-colonial regime. Under the first post-colonial regime, opposition political leaders like Chief J.S. Tarka and Chief Obafemi Awolowo were charged with associates with treason and treasonable felony respectively. While Chief Tarka was acquitted, Chief Awolowo and a number of his political lieutenants were convicted and sentenced to various terms of imprisonment. They were later pardoned by the military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon. In the Second Republic, Mr. Zanibu Karamandara, a military food contractor, was charged for treason at the Federal High Court. He was later alleged to have complained to some soldiers that the economy was no longer what it used to be and that the country was drifting to a point where a change was needed. Even though he was tried and convicted and sentenced to 15 years imprisonment, the Supreme Court freed him on the ground that the Federal High Court lacked the jurisdiction to have tried him at the material time. Criminalization of protests by military dictator. The police under the Yakubu Gowon and Olusegun Obasanjo military regimes engaged in the killing of students during protests. In 1971, Kule Adekpeju, an undergraduate of the University of Ibadan, was killed during a peaceful rally at Ibadan. Imagine, 1971, I was not yet born. You just kill somebody, take away his life, a young man. What could you imagine what his life would have been like? Blah, 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 have wife, have children, they would have done something, Yet, the wastefulness that these people, when they get into power, they think that life means nothing. We must stop it. Let me go back to the article. In 1978, Akintunde Ojo of the University of Lagos and other students were killed during the protest against the commercialization of education by the military regime. Many radical lecturers and students were dismissed for identifying with the cause of the students. Apart from the trivialization of the offense of treason, the Ibrahim Babangida military junta engaged in the criminalization of public protests in Nigeria. For instance, the late Chima Ubani and 8 other student leaders in the University of Nigeria were arrested in May 1986 and charged under the Miscellaneous Offences Decree before a special military tribunal. We defended them and ensured that the charge was struck out in favor of the defendants. In June 1999, 5 of us, including the late Chief Ganifawo Emisan and the late Dr. Bekora Asomkuti, were charged with treasonable felony in a Gwagwalada Chief Magistrate Court for daring to organize protests against the sabotage of the political transition program by General Ibrahim Babangida. Where is General Ibrahim Babangida now? An old man somewhere just there that people go to see on political voyage or political tourism. Instead of it to have people like this could have built Nigeria into something great that years after they are gone, they will be remembered. You see. So they protested against the political transition program by General Ibrahim Babangida, who had wanted to metamorphose into a civilian president. Chief Femi and I, who defended ourselves and our comrade, turned the case into the trial of the military officers who had toppled civilian and military government in Nigeria. In July 1993, the late Chief Ganifawe son, the late Dr. Beko Ransome-Kuti, and I were charged with unlawful assembly and miscellaneous offences at a magistrate court in Abuja for organizing protests against the criminal annulment of the result of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. The magistrate court refused our application for bail and ordered our remand in Kuje prison. But while we were in custody, General Ibrahim Babangida was forced to abdicate power as many more protests took place in many parts of the country. See, protests, they are very important. On November 17, 1993, the late General Sani Abacha seized power and embarked on the elimination of political opponents like his predecessors and co-coupists, General Ibrahim Babangida. Notwithstanding the demolition of all democratic structures, the Senate convened and demanded the actualization of the June 12, 1993 mandate of Bashorun Abiola. Senator Bola Tinubu, now President of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, according to this is article by Falana, and 5 of his colleagues were arrested and charged with treasonable felony, which read that you, Ame Ebuti, 2, Chief Polycarp Nuite, 3, Reverend Mark Onyemechi Nulu, 4, Onyeka Amadi Okoroafo, 5, Abu Ibrahim, and 6, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and others at large on the 30th day of May 1994 at Lagos in the Lagos State Judicial Division of the Federal High Court formed an intention to remove during his term of office, other than by constitutional means, the head of the state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, General Sani Abacha, as head of state, and manifested such intention by issuing a press statement declaring the federal government illegal and thereby committed an offense contrary to Section 41A of the Criminal Code, Act 77, Laws of the Federation, 1990, and punishable under the same section. You saw what just happened now. They took light. And as a Nigerian who is used to dysfunctional system, I just went on. I didn't feel anything. That's not normal. I should be outraged. We should all be outraged. This is why we've normalized all the wrong things that are happening in this country. I'm going back to the opinion piece. And see what happened here. The same Bola Tinubu that has rigged his way into office is not charging people with treasonable felony and all of that, when he is treason, when he himself had been charged with such a thing. What a life. While the charge was pending, Senator Bola Tinubu fled the country to escape assassination. The editor-in-chief of the news magazine, Bayo Onanuga, this same Bayo now, that is calling protesters all sorts of names, and his deputy, Dapo Oloru-Yomi, also fled the country after the assassination of Baogada Kaltu, the northern Nigeria correspondent of the news magazine. Pa Alfred Ewane, Mrs. Kudirat Abiola, and many other critics were brutally massacred by the killer squad of the Abacha junta. That's why I see when people, this democracy that we have today, people died for us to have it. It didn't come easy. Some people paid the ultimate price. And yet we are sitting down here, we are allowing people to just use it anyhow and turn it into a military rule. Through trumped-up charges, the junta charged many serving and retired military officers with treason, including General Olusegun Obasanjo and Shehu Yaradua. Activists and journalists who exposed the fake coup were tried and convicted by military tribunals for being accessories after the fact of treason. They were sentenced to life imprisonment. Kensaro Wiwa and 8 other leaders of the movement of the survival of Ogoni people were arrested for protesting against the pollution and degradation of Ogoni land by Shell Producing Nigeria Limited. The environmental activists were tried, convicted, and sentenced to death by a special military tribunal. The junta proceeded to execute them when it had not received the certified true copies of the judgment and the record of the proceedings of the Special Military Tribunal as stipulated by the Civil Disturbances Decree of 1987. Illegality of police permits. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and his deputy Atiku Abubakar were declared winners of the 2003 presidential election by the Independent National Electoral Commission. A major opposition political party, the defunct All Nigeria People's Party (ANPP), decided to hold a series of rallies to protest the rigging of the 2003 general election by the ruling party in connivance with the Independent National Electoral Commission. So we know these things have been happening for long. People have been crying. People work and then they give up. We cannot afford to give up. We must fight this to the place where Nigeria becomes a country that works for everyone. On the instruction of the presidency, the police violently disrupted the first rally that was held in Kano on September 22nd, 2003. The attendees of the rally, including the presidential candidate of the ANPP, General Muhammadu Buhari, and his deputy, Dr. Chuba Kadibu, who had attended the rally, were dispersed with a heavy dose of tear gas. In justifying the violent breakup of the rally, the police stated that the ANPP did not obtain a police permit. The ANPP and 10 other opposition political parties challenged the constitutional validity of obtaining police permits for rallies in Nigeria. In dismissing the defense of the police, the trial judge Chinyere J. held that police permit was inconsistent with sections 39 and 40 of the Constitution and Article 11 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights Act, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. According to the learned trial judge, I am therefore persuaded by the argument of Mr. Falana that by the combined effects of Section 39 and 40 of the 1999 Constitution, as well as Article 11 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the right to assemble freely cannot be violated without violating the fundamental right to peaceful assembly and association. I also agree with Mr. Falana that violation can only be done by the procedure permitted by law under Section 45 of the Constitution, in which case there must be a state of emergency properly declared before these rights can be violated. I think this is going to be so long. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to pause this here and I'll continue in a part 2. So watch out for the part 2. Thank you so much.